Good afternoon again. Thank y'all for coming today. We've had a really good turnout. Never know how to expect with these meetings, but I appreciate y'all coming and the support for our watershed ordinance. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit today on our watershed ordinance. So we have a good mix here: city staff, landscapers, lawn care maintenance. So it's a brief presentation, but just to give you all a summary of what our ordinance includes. The enforcement portion and questions we do, or recommendations, anything like that that we can help keep this ordinance in place, the implementation process, and of course education. That's why we're here today. So I guess we'll begin. Also joining me is Stephen Casatos with our Code Compliance Department, as well as Cesar Rodriguez. And we do have some of our public works staff that are there in the back, but if there's my backup there, we have Leo Hernandez with our Drainage Division, as well as Marcos de Leon. And my bosses, we have Elvira Alonso, she's our Director of Public Works, and Mario Vela, who's our Assistant Public Works Director as well, joining us. So we have Code Compliance, we have Parks Department, again, several city departments here. If I'm not able to answer your questions, we do have other staff that will team up to give you that answer. But again, our watershed ordinance was implemented in January of this year. Has anyone heard about it? Has anyone read it? If you want to read it, great material before you go to bed. It's about 40 pages. It is available on our City of McAllen website, on city ordinances, so you can get familiar with it a little bit more in detail. You want to go to the next? All right, what is the purpose, or what was the purpose of our watershed ordinance? And it's basically to minimize pollution into our storm drain system. Our storm drain system consists of the street, the curb and gutter, storm drain inlets, underground pipes, drain ditches, some public, some private detention swales, and all leads over to our watersheds. Now, can anyone give me a definition of what a watershed is? Y'all just ate. You're like, I really don't. It's kicking in. We got you all turkey sandwiches. But there's Coke there to kind of get that caffeine in. Watershed is basically an area of land that drains into a water body. Okay, so the Rio Grande Valley all drains into two watersheds, the Arroyo Colorado and the Laguna Madre. Those are our watersheds. Really a great importance for us to keep those healthy, and that's why we, the city, implemented this watershed ordinance to help us with the education portion as well as the enforcement of that. Okay. All right, this watershed ordinance, as I mentioned, is about 40 pages. There's a lot of meat in that ordinance, but it's in 3 categories to address. Again, I want you all to remember, only rain down the drain. That is the only thing that should be going into our storm drain system, okay? Only rain, rainwater, stormwater, whatever word you want to use, but that is the only thing that should be going into that system. So the 3 components are erosion and sediment control, and that is at the construction stage. So contractors, when they're developing, are supposed to be putting all those, what we call best management practices at the site so that they can ensure nothing is leaving the site when it rains, and that it's only capturing rainwater into the street, curb and gutter, the storm drain inlet, okay? There's a couple of chairs here. So since that's part of the ordinance, that's also something that we will be enforcing, making sure our developers, our contractors, all are ensuring that they're preventing as best as they can. Again, you cannot prevent 100% of pollution into the system, but you're taking those measures to prevent as much as you can, okay? A second component is post-construction. After everything has been developed, they've gotten their final from the city, it's maintaining those detention swales or detention ponds. And we do have quite a few requirements. Can y'all still hear me, or? Yes? Requirements on private detention swales. You know, as part of the engineering department, there's requirements to detain a certain amount of rainwater on site so it doesn't overcapacitate our storm drain system. And some of these private are maintained by the homeowners association or the property owners. So that post-construction segment of the ordinance is to ensure that they are doing their part in maintaining it properly, that the system works, it is preventing what it can, it's filtering what it can before it hits the public storm drain system. Okay. And the last segment, which we're going to be talking about today and what we'll be concentrating on, is illicit discharge detection and elimination. And by illicit discharge, again, we go back to only rain down the drain. Okay, anything else leaving the site, grass clippings, leaves, any type of chemicals, dirt, all of that needs to be prevented on site with some type of measure. But that's what we'll talk about this morning or this afternoon. Going back to erosion sediment control, just a couple of pictures. What's the responsibility of that contractor on site? Okay, and maybe some of you are contractors. You do a little bit of both, but making sure what we call best management practice. When it gets windy here, a lot of dirt starts flying around. Okay, one requirement would be to water it down at the site. Okay, making sure the silt fencing is up properly to prevent any sediment from going to the storm drain system. Also, your rock beds or rock bed entrances. It rained Sunday, got a little bit muddy. In some areas, it rained more than others. Making sure your vehicles, as they come in and out of the property, prevent some of that mud from getting into the street and making a mess on our streets. Okay, and the silt socks. Okay, that's also a mechanism to prevent, new storm drain inlets that have just been installed, to make sure that they're not getting anything off of the construction site, especially any construction debris or sediment. Okay, what's the next picture? And as I mentioned, a lot of detention swells that are part of the development process, again, fall back to, as far as the maintenance, on the property owners or homeowners association. So that is an undertaking that they take upon themselves. It's usually a plat note on the subdivision. But again, our part is going to make sure that we're enforcing, they're properly maintaining that system. So again, we can prevent pollution into our storm drain. And here we are, our favorite topic of the day, illicit discharge, detection and elimination. Okay. From those pictures, okay, do all of those look like something you should be doing into, or something that should be going into our storm drain system? Okay, remember I told you, remember, only rain down the drain. So what goes into the storm drain system? Rain. That's it. That is it. Okay. Some of these pictures were taken here locally, and one of the big, complaints that we get here with the city is the blowing of material from the lawn. Okay, whether it's through a company or the resident. Okay, a lot of times they're maintaining their lawn, and we get to a point where we don't want anything on that lawn, right? So we blow everything, and we might have a tendency to blow everything to the neighbor's yard or someone else's property, right? But it's not on our yard anymore. Okay, well, that's a do not. That is considered, grass clippings and leaves, blowing them into the street, a pollutant. And we think about it, well, big deal, it's organic, it's going to break down. It will, but two things that we're looking at. Again, you put enough acorns and grass clippings and leaves into a manhole or storm drain inlet, it's going to clog. Okay, and when it rains, as we had Sunday on a rain event, you're preventing that system from working properly. Okay, the purpose of that system is to collect water and convey that water through the underground system, through drain ditches, detention swells, out to our watersheds. And again, the purpose is to transport rainwater, stormwater, rain only. Okay, so that's why we really placed this into our ordinance, to again educate people and, if need be, the enforcement portion, making sure that we're all doing our part, not only in keeping McAllen beautiful, but preventing that contamination into our watersheds. Okay, move to the next one, Cessa. Okay, so what can we do when we're maintaining our lawn? Do's and don'ts. And this is for all of us here, whether as a resident, a property owner, or a business owner. Okay, or a contractor. Okay, what can we do when we're maintaining our lawn so that we can prevent that contamination into the storm drain system? The next one. Y'all are pretty quiet. I don't know if the sandwich is kicking in or this is so interesting. You're so glad you came this afternoon. Grass clippings. I mentioned we do get quite a bit of concerns coming in through what we have our public stuff, our 311. If y'all have not downloaded that app, please do so. It comes very handy. If you see something out of the ordinary here in the city, you can submit that complaint through your phone. Picture anonymously. Okay? And we have 24-hour turnaround to look at that concern and get it taken care of. Okay? Grass clippings, the blowing of grass clippings, and as you go through our City of McAllen, our streets, there's always little evidence of grass clippings and leaves here and there. And again, it's really hard when you've already mowed the lawn and it gets very windy. Some of that may fly off. But these are dues that we would like for y'all to do, again, to comply with the ordinance. Okay? Blow the grass clippings back into the lawn. Okay, and I actually saw someone doing that today, which is very good. And you're looking like, why do we want to blow them back into the lawn? One, it's away from the street, from the drain system, and it also adds nutrients to your lawn. Okay, that'll help your grass grow and stay healthy. You can use a mulching lawnmower. Okay? Or next option would be to collect all the debris in bags. Okay, and that could be, depending on where you're working, our compostable brown bags. Those are bags that we give to our residents for free. Okay, they pick them up. They actually have some here at City Hall. There's 7 city facilities that accommodate that. They just bring their water bill. Okay, or you can use your plastic bags. Okay, and we'll be talking about disposal. Depends on where you dispose of that material. Okay, is maybe what options you will use. Now, from these pictures, is there a do not there? Okay, what about the plastic bags? Okay, they can tear. You can see they're being left there at the site. Okay, what we require for lawn maintenance companies and for residents to properly dispose of that. Okay, so if you are being paid for a service, those bags should be disposed of whatever facility you're using to dispose of it. They can't stay there at the site, whether it's a commercial or a residential home. Okay, so that would be a do not. Okay, but we'll get into a little bit because I can see some of you have questions on that, and that's what we're here for, to answer your questions. Okay. Leaves, same concept. We blow a lot of leaves. Okay, they do not go into the street or curb and gutter or storm drain inlet. So you can see the do not picture. That individual is just going to town, blowing everything into the street and sidewalk or to their neighbor's yard. Okay. What we do want everyone to do, and again, we're talking about residents and business owners, contractors, is you can collect the leaves for proper disposal. I mentioned we have the brown bags here with the City of McAllen, or you can use the mulching lawnmower. Okay. The other option I didn't put on there, again, depending on what services you provide or the agreement you have with the property owner, if they compost. You can use that as one of your ingredients for your compost bins, too, for your green waste. Okay. Move to the next. And tree trimmings. Okay. I think this is a great time to be trimming trees. The weather's changing. What do y'all do when you do trim the trees? How do y'all collect that debris and how do you dispose of that? Okay, several pictures. Again, we go to the do nots. Okay, that's a lot of debris there at the residential home. Okay, again, if you are servicing that home, you're all responsible to collect that debris and dispose of it properly. Okay, it can't be left there at the site. Okay. The do's is, of course, to collect it in a truck bed or trailer bed. Make sure it's properly covered so that when you start from that destination at that address, wherever you're going to be disposing of, there's not a little trail of grass clippings and leaves and tree branches on the way to the site. Because we will follow that little that little line and see, again, who was responsible for doing that. We don't want littering our city. We want to keep it beautiful. And again, we all do our part. This is a team effort with everyone. Okay. All right, proper disposal of brush debris. I'm going to give you some options here. Y'all might have something else that you do. But again, if you're providing that service, you're collecting that debris and you're disposing of it properly. Okay. We have 2 locations. Again, this is if you're doing work here in the City of McAllen. If you're working in the City of FAR, City of San Juan, then you're going to have to dispose of that, whether it's pertaining to that city or to the local landfill. But again, if you're working here with City of McAllen and what you're picking up or collecting is McAllen debris, okay, you got 2 options. You can dispose of at our composting facility. And that's located on the north side of town. Okay, the address is 15,201 North 29th Street. And we also have the recycling center, which is closer. It's on Nolana and Benson. Those are the 2 sites that you can dispose of brush debris, again, when you're doing work here in the City of McAllen. But you do need to show a current water bill of what address you're working at, that it is a McAllen address. We will check there at the office to confirm that it is a McAllen address, okay? We confirm, again, it's a McAllen address, business, or a city project. Some of you may work as a contractor for the city, okay? So if it is a city project, we will confirm that it is what project it is, the address, that is still an active project, okay? And when you do come to the office, please, that's just out of courtesy, come to the front office to check in that it is debris coming from a city project so that we can confirm that status, okay? And if you do dispose of here with the city, we do charge, it's $2 to $3 per cubic yard, okay? $2 if you go to the composting facility, and $3 if you come to the recycling center. Those are the 2 fees that we do charge. Okay, I noticed a couple of questions. Okay, yes, sir.
I just wanted to, actually, this is a benefit to the landscapers because years previously, the landscaper, he had to go and dispose it all on his own. He couldn't take it to the recycling center. So for you landscapers out there, this is actually a benefit for you all. The only thing is make sure you get that water bill from the homeowner.
Is there a safety driving with a trailer?
There's area to maneuver in the composting and the recycling center.
Last time I went with the trailer,
To the
center,
okay, and you went to the composting facility, or and then they routed you to recycling?
the one in Benson.
Okay, so you went to the recycling center, and that was the and they asked you to go to the composting.
Said that I shouldn't drive in.
Okay, that was recently, sir?
About a month.
Maybe it was, right now we're undergoing quite a bit of construction, and maybe there wasn't an area to collect it at on that day. I do recommend, if you have quite a bit, I would go to the composting facility because they do have more area, but it's also what time they close. The composting facility closes early at 3. It was at noon? Okay, then we'll look into it, but you should be able to have both facilities are available for you to dispose of. Okay, I don't know if you wanted to take that question too, Elvira, or?
Well, I wanted to add to it actually because I want to add the word free to you, to this event. I'm not sure if all of you know this, but the city has on a one-time first come, first served basis, a roll-off. We have a great big roll-off that's free of charge to the residents. of McAllen, we only offer 5. So you have to call in on a Friday. It's placed on a Friday and it's picked up on a Sunday. So for those of you, if you're doing some landscape or tree trimming in a neighborhood, and we can go place that roll off there, and instead of you putting it on the curb, which is not accepted, then we can place that there. You don't have to drive to any facility, just use that dumpster. The only catch to that is that the resident has to make that request. Any resident that you're helping or assisting there doing the work for, they would have to be the resident requesting that, because the catch to that is that nothing other than green waste is allowed in that bin. If for any reason trash is placed in it, then we would have to charge for that roll-off, because then that would require us to take it to the landfill as opposed to the compost it. Okay? I just wanted to throw that in there because this is a service that a lot of people don't know about, especially you guys that do this for a living. Or the code enforcement, we can offer that for those people that have the big jobs.
Of the water bill? Yes. Did y'all hear his question? Maybe you don't have that, the paper, the water bill from a resident that you're working at the address. If you have a electronic file of it, like maybe, I don't know, maybe by email, because if you take a picture, they might not accept that, because it's one of those where I can take a picture of any. They are going to confirm it. They might let you do that the first time, but we really want that copy of the water bill. I know we also give an option where the resident wants to come with you to dispose of that, and they will confirm, they have their ID and they confirm that y'all are working at that address. So we've had that option been given before too. Okay. Okay, this was my last slide. I think the next one is questions, which we've already started on. But we have more information. We do have a McAllen Public Works website that we have information on all our services there at Public Works. But I am going to open up to any other questions y'all might have, or comments or recommendations. Again, we're trying to do this together as an outreach program. We're wanting to maybe do a series of these luncheons also for other companies that maybe weren't able to come today. And for residents as well. But we are posting things on. We have a Facebook page that we put information on. And as always, we're here to serve you all. So any other questions, you can get us by website. You can email us through our website or call us through 681-3111.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for everyone for coming to this lunch meeting today. What you do every day really keeps the city beautiful and clean. We do want to talk about the enforcement portion of what we're going to be doing. So from now through the end of the year, our department will be giving out warnings to anyone that we physically witness blowing debris into the storm drain or the storm gutter. So that's going to be a warning, a educational period from now through the end of the year. Starting January 1st, we will be issuing citations for any violations that we witness ourselves. Can I have my code staff stand up, please? These are some of our employees here that do patrol the streets and will be educating the public and companies like you on the ordinance and the do's and don'ts. Any questions on the educational phase? Like Delilah said, we're going to be having meetings next month and also in December to bring in other contractors that do business in the city of McAllen as well.